Hello, mic check. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, uh, preparing for NEET. Why am I recording this? I don't know. I always wanted to kind of do something, and now I am. Current situation is not that well. So today's session is simply going to be that of studying. So if you want to do that, you're welcome. If you don't want to, then bye bye. But yeah. Okay. What's today's thing is that we need to do a little bit of you know understanding like what the shit is happening. Okay, and overall studying. In my videos, I'll be using the Feynman technique often to explain some topics. It feels good to record that because it feels as if I have an audience. Otherwise, it feels weird explaining it to an imaginary stuffed toy. Okay, I have some of my own plans, some of my own understanding of things. Mm, it's 7 p.m. I just had tea. It's a few days. Today's 9. No, today's 11th. Barely a month. Barely or 3 weeks, but a lot of stuff can happen in 1 month. 1 month is the most important phase. And when there's going to be 1 week left, we're going to say this 1 week is the most important phase. I was running in worries a few days ago, considering, oh no, what will I do? My marks are very less. I might not score well. And then I realized, hey, wait, I might have to take a drop. Maybe not. Maybe I might have to. It depends on what the result is. But then here comes Samir Raina's video, and there's this line he said. It, it kind of gave me confidence. Strangely, it gave me confidence. The line was that he was having psychosis, he was breaking down, and so much was happening around him. CMs had filed, you know, FIRs against this dude for making a simple joke. Okay. And he didn't even make that joke. Someone else on his show did. Anyway, so he was basically breaking down mentally. He was basically having a breakdown. He called his dad and he said, "Dad, why are you laughing?" Because his dad was like laughing and stuff. And he said, "Dad, why are you laughing? This is my everything is going down. It's just my career is, I don't know what will happen next. Everything is so strange." And then he said, "Son, I had to leave my hometown, my homeland overnight, all my belongings overnight, and come to an unknown place and lift my family. I had to start from scratch, and now we are thriving." So it doesn't really matter to me now that, see, if I have to take a drop, it's a reason. But working hard right now is the best thing that I can do. So with about 21 days left, there's a lot of latent, you know, stuff inside me, and we're gonna work hard on it, or that's going to give us good results. Okay, so we have the syllabus here in the subtopic division, and we have the syllabus here in the topic wise division, considering the high level topics scaled comparatively to the lower ones. I did this a few, no, about 2 months ago. Have this with me. We have open mock tests happening. I'm scoring tests here, but in these tests, their analysis and understanding what's wrong and then fixing what's wrong is more important, which will help us improve further on our topics that we are failing in. Currently, we revised optical instruments, which was a good thing. We sent a doubt to our physics teacher. Okay, it's nearly 8 o'clock now. Excuse me. Okay, see, no session starts without a plan. Let's plan this. Oh, huh. Tomorrow I have another AI ATS that I'm supposed to give. We're eyeing more than 500 marks in that, hopefully. That will give us a confidence boost too. So, give me a sec. I don't know if you can see. Okay. So, plan. Gonna study for 1.5 hours study. And then we're gonna take a break afterwards. We're going to follow the pacer system, which we already made before. And we're going to revise the pattern builders, okay? Okay, so current plan is first we're going to start with physics, pattern builder, and then we're going to do chemistry. Pattern builder are like everything, all of those. And related pacer system, whichever is the thing we're going to follow. If you want to know what the pacer thing is, I got it from one of Justin's videos, Justin Song. I'm trying to implement that. It makes my head hurt while studying, but it works. And then we have to do the chemistry short note revision for organic. Okay, so that's that. We're going to have a revision stuff on here. Right, put the date. And let's start with organic chemistry revision first. If you want to mute it, you can mute it and study along. Just dissociation. I'll keep speaking a bit. I'll go silent in the middle when I'm focusing, but I will speak. So if you want to, then kind of mute it. There will be no music. Well, I'll put that in the thumbnail, the title. Sorry. Study without pressure is the best study ever. That's best. Okay. Anyway, a revision of the pacer system first of all. What is the pacer system and how we're going to follow it? Okay. So here it is. Justin Sunk told us, gave us this. The pacer system is basically we're first going to, um, have anything that has to do with procedure. Everything is stage one, and then it works in stage two. So if anything relates to procedure, then we practice it. If anything relates to analogy, we critique it. If anything relates to say concepts, right, we mind map it. I don't know how to make mind maps. Justin has a lot of videos on how to make mind maps, but we'll do that later. We don't have much time. We'll study when required. We have time. E, we have evidence. Evidence requires storage, and we also have reference. Reference also requires storage. These three are the most important and require the most amount of time. Good. Nice. Oh, I think screen share died. We'll do that again. I don't like that. I don't want that to happen again. Not sure. Back to studying. Do we want to do halo alkanes or do we want to do the hydrocarbons? Hydrocarbons is good, but it takes longer. We will do halo alkanes first. That will help us more. Let's do halo alkanes, amines, and biomolecules. So in organic chemistry for this session we have and then we have amines. So we do these three and we practice related questions of these three. What's the source of the practice questions? Oh shit. Probably just PYQs. You have PYQs with me. Okay. Start writing. Took us 10 minutes to start probably. That's crazy. Okay, here again short notes start. So haloalkanes have nucleophilicity, lone pair donating capability, and ion polarizability. The Fahan rule is that polarizing power is directly proportional to charge by charge. So polarizing power directly proportional to charge upon size. The polarizability is directly proportional to charge and then also directly proportional to size. Okay. Electron density is directly proportional to nucleophilicity. So electron density is more nucleophilicity, it means more electron density. Yeah, examples given, CS3 minus is more, you know, and then NH2 minus, then OH minus, and then F minus. Okay, and we have another one is the, okay, so I think this is going to highlight the fact that more polarizable donor atom is a better nucleophile. So more polarizable donor atom is a better nucleophile, I guess. So you have the periodic table, or beautiful, beautiful periodic table. In this periodic table, nucleophilicity decreases down the group, increases down the group. Nucleophilicity increases down the group, and nucleophilicity decreases across. So increases and decreases, like increases like this, increase like this. So nucleophilicity follows the same order as radius. This is an analogy. So nucleophilicity follows the same order as radius. So radius also increases down the group, and nucleophilicity also decreases. Radius also decreases down the group and increases down across the. What am I saying? Nucleophilicity is the same as radius. Radius also increases like this down the group. Radius is going to increase down the group. Nucleophilicity is going to increase going from the left to right, going across the period. The radius is going to decrease, 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 and so is the nucleophilicity going to decrease. Okay. And we also know that the basicity is going to also decrease across the period, and basicity is in opposition going to decrease across the group as well. And acidity will obviously follow the opposite manner. Another few things, electronegativity, electronegativity, electronegativity decreases down the group, electronegativity increases across the period. That's that atomic radius is like this. Okay, so atomic radius is going to increase down the group and decrease down the period across the period. And then we have electron gain enthalpy. The electron gain enthalpy will follow the same process as electronegativity. Okay, clear? Let's go faster. Short notes are short for a reason. Steric effects. This is more steric. Less movement is allowed. Bad nucleophile. So if there is more steric and there is less movement allowed, so it means there is a bad nucleophile. Okay. So for example, something like this. This is a bad nucleophile. What is basicity? Basicity is the tendency of the anion or atom to abstract the H plus ion. Basicity is the tendency of an anion or an atom to abstract an H plus ion. Okay. Uh, okay. Proton abstract करने की tendency. Base hydrogen has a good bond, therefore a good basicity. So what is an example of a base? NaOH is a base. Okay. So if there is a good bond between the hydrogen, if this bond is hard to break specifically, okay, this is a good base. It has good basicity rather. Okay, we also know that conjugate acid of base is strong base, weak acid. Conjugate acid of strong base is weak acid. For example, in something such as CH3OH minus, sorry, CH3OH, the conjugate acid is going to be CH3O minus. Why H plus release हो गया. Now this is supposed to be a weak acid, which it is. It's a good base, or is it? I don't remember. Yeah, right. Okay. Another thing we can understand is that the basicity is is inversely proportional to strength of conjugate acid, and we also know that the stronger the carbon ion is, right, the stronger the carbon ion is, the faster the H plus will release. Okay, so for example, from something that is, say, this phenol. Okay, so phenol is very eager to go into a state like this, because then it has partial double bond character, and due to this it is stronger. Okay, so this pH is low here. Comparative, if we're just comparing, in a stronger base acid, so for example the HCl is a strong base, so in HCl, H plus and Cl minus, right, so there is nothing to stabilize Cl minus as such, so it's not going to have good basicity, but it's going to have good acidity, I think. That's just the word. Okay. Solvents. Okay, this is important. We need to understand SN1 and SN2 reactions. We know this. Just a quick revision on our side. Let's do a nice free recall for this. SN1 and SN2 reactions. So SN1 reaction means that a carbocation will be formed. SN2 reaction means that there is going to be carbocation forms and intermediate. This is the intermediate. Okay. In this there is no intermediate, and this is basically replacement kind of. So if there is something like this, and there is something like this, and this, and this, and this thing called a nucleophile, it comes in and it says, hello, I want to make friends with you, but you will have to give this dude up, right? So what happens is that, sorry, this like this, okay, and the nucleophile goes like this, so it has to basically let it go. He has to break friendship with this dude and make a new friendship with this guy, so it kind of works. And through this we also remember another thing, that since this is happening, this is going to be change in the stereochemistry. Okay, there's going to be a change in the stereochemistry for this. Okay, here there is going to be inversion. Inversion is the word. Inversion is meant to be major. In SN1, however, there is less change, less or no change. Okay, because there is a 60% plus inversion and a 50% retention. This is retention of configuration or inversion of configuration. So if it was first cis, it is going to become trans, and if this was first, yeah, this was cis, then it will become trans. If cis, it will remain cis configuration. Okay, very easy. Another thing, in SN1 reaction, we are going to use polar protic solvents. and this we're going to use polar aprotic solvents. So polar protic solvents and polar aprotic solvents. Okay, so creating this is a concept, and we are going to create a connection. So this let's read some more. Okay, polar protic solvent, in polar protic solvent is hydrogen bonding going to form. The example of polar protic solvent are water and ethanol. Okay, polar aprotic solvent is going to be acetone, DMF, DMSO, crown ether, 1,4-dioxane, and acetone. So acetone, DMF, DMSO are the main polar aprotic solvents. Effect of solvents on nucleophilicity. When there is going to be a higher hydrogen formation in SN1 reaction, the F minus, since it is more electronegative, will form more hydrogen bonds. Therefore, the mobility is going to be hindered. But for I minus, comparatively, there is going to be less, hydrogen bond formation, and it can be comparatively move better. Okay, so we have SN1 racemization, and the SN1 rate is dependent on one, the alkyl halide, or the alkyl halide, the Rx. It's going to depend on that. It's going to be independent of concentration and nature of nucleophile. It's going to be independent of the concentration and the nature of nucleophile. The rate is going to be tertiary, secondary, primary. Tertiary will react faster. Higher carboctine stability means higher reaction rate. More leaving ability means higher reaction rate. Okay. Tessellate and triflate are very good leaving groups. So that's that. Two peaks. So one peak means that there is, like, since there are two peaks, there are going to be two transition states, because one peaks means one transition state, and there's going to be one intermediate because one dip means one transition state in this chart. Wherever there is going to be carbocations have a tendency to rearrange. So carbocations have a tendency to rearrange into something that is more stabilized. Okay. So carbocation are more stabilized with more plus I or plus M effects. Okay. SN2 reaction, we just memorized that. There is SN2 revision rate KRX. Rx nucleophile is going to depend on concentration of Rx. The nature of Rx is also going to depend on the concentration of nucleophile and the nature of nucleophile, unlike the SN1 reaction, which only depended on the concentration of the concentration and the nature of the alkyl halide. Rate means directly proportional to good leaving group. Similar condition, but here rate is more inversely proportional to steric hindrance because there is no carbocation. An important list for better SN2 reaction is given. So alpha halocarbonyls are more prone to SN2 reactions than benzyl halides, which are better than CH3X, which are better than allylic halides, which are better than primary, which are better than secondary, which are better than tertiary. Okay, so SN2 is inversion of configuration. We just noticed that back attacks occur in this situation. There is a reaction which is related to AgX, silver chloride. In this reaction, there is going to be a change. This reaction related to AgX, which was taught to us in some other chapter. We'll come across that eventually. SN2. Okay. Yeah. I need to improve my speed in this. Increase speed. Even in E2 reaction or elimination reactions. Okay, so since we studied SN1 and SN2, these are conceptual and therefore require mapping. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. I don't have water bottle. And let's see. Okay. So now here we are going to see substitution reactions. Substitutions are reactions are divided into SN1 and SN2. Substitution reactions are divided into SN1 and SN2. These are plugged into intermediate carbocation, polar protic. What is the example of polar protic? We have three examples: H2O, ethanol. Two examples. In this we have polar aprotic. This is what I forget the most, so I am more emphasizing here. Polar aprotic solvents, there are three polar aprotic on DMF, DMSO, acetone. Okay. It should be inversion, high. That is not good. I don't like that. It loses connection. खाना कब खाना है?
वही तेरे से पूछना है हमने।
8:30 खाते हैं।
8:30 हो गया 8 सवा 8
गर्म कर दो खाना, मैं आ रहा हूँ।
गरम कर रहा हूँ।
मैं चैप्टर खत्म करके आता हूँ। Food time, people. We need food. Food is important. Oh no, man. Okay. Any, we have polar aprotic solvent, SN1 reaction, polar protic solvent, high inversion rate. This is 60% inversion rate. Inversion, and SN1 reaction is a transformation. This means there is going to be rearrangement. Okay, and there is going to be an SN1 reaction. We are going to able to find. In this, we have this graph. So this is the reaction, reactant, down and down. So it's going to be intermediate. This is going to be, this is the intermediate. This is the transition state. This is the transition state. Okay. In SN2 reaction, so only just one peak, one state, and one intermediate. There's also something called RDS. RDS is basically the slowest step of the reaction. The slowest step of the reaction is, does it written here? Something about the slowest. Isn't here. If it's into here, then I'll find it. Yeah, okay, here it is. Step one of this is step one of this reaction, this transition state, when it is building from say carbon hydrogen to carbocation. Okay, if it is doing that, or let's say if it is doing this, in this case this is going to be RDS. Okay, when it is becoming from the initial product into an intermediate, here it is going to have the RDS reaction. Okay, next on the list is going to be our nice elimination, and we are going to study all of that, and then we're going to make a mind map of it like we did the last time. I think we should. That's I think the best way to finish it quickly. Yeah, okay.